step right up and welcome to a truly terrifying tale. I am so thrilled to guide you through this story today because it masterfully blends the classic tropes of a haunted fairground with just deep psychological dread. Today we're unpacking the dark, true horror story of Honzo the Joker. Let's break down exactly how a simple night out turned into an absolute nightmare. Dim the lights, focus up, and let's unravel this mystery together. Can an inanimate object harbor a vengeful spirit? It's a deeply unsettling thought, isn't it? We usually think of curses being, attached to ancient castles or desolate graveyards. But what if a mass-produced, lifeless object, something meant for pure entertainment, could actually absorb and project an inescapable malice? Just keep this in the back of your mind as we walk through the chilling events that unfolded for a young man named Sam and his friends. Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The Cursed Fairground, where fear begins. Our chronological nightmare begins at a local fairground. For three friends, Sam, John, and Linda, the vibrant lights kind of masked a very dark, isolated corner. They stumbled upon this area completely devoid of crowds, which led them straight to a solitary, really ominous tent. And right above the entrance hung this chilling message: "You don't want to meet Honzo." To make matters worse, echoing out from the speakers was the sound of terrifying, maniacal clown laughter. It was literally enough to make Linda freeze in sheer terror, and even John wisely took a step back. But then, we have Sam. The dynamic completely shifts with him. He loved to portray himself as the brave one, the guy who just couldn't be rattled. So instead of listening to his terrified friends, he ruthlessly mocked John and Linda. Fueled by pure arrogance, he confidently marched right past a heavy-set man in a colorful coat who was smoking a cigar at the entrance. Sam was determined to prove his bravery against the unknown. It's that classic psychological trap, right, where sheer ego completely blinds us to genuine, creeping danger.
Part 2. Honzo's Dark History, the Fire and the Dummy.
The very next day, unable to shake the tent's creepy aura, the friends started researching the fairground at John's house. And what they uncovered? Well, it wasn't a cheap marketing gimmick. It was a horrifying historical reality. Honzo wasn't always just a myth. He was a real, highly popular circus joker. But tragedy struck when a lit cigar sparked a catastrophic fire in his tent. Honzo couldn't escape, and he burned to death in the blaze. Years later, haunted house attractions began using dummies modeled after him, and the terrifying local legend claimed his agonizing death actually anchored his vengeful spirit to those very dummies. Part 3. The Deadly Dare, Stealing the Red Nose. Now, you would think uncovering a deadly, fiery curse would keep anyone away. Well, not Sam. In absolute disbelief, he just laughed it off and decided to escalate the whole situation. He wasn't just going to visit the tent. He challenged the cursed lord directly. He vowed to enter that pitch-black haunted tent completely alone at night. He was going to navigate the maze of creepy mirrors, find the specific dummy housing Honzo's spirit, and steal its red clown nose. So the crucial point is this bet. If Sam succeeded, John would be forced to wear that cursed clown nose to school for everyone to see. Part 4. The Maze of Doors, Trapped in the Dark. That very night, Sam actually returned, strutting right past that same cigar-smoking man at the entrance. He pushed past the strange mirrors with all this false bravado until he hit a dead end. But as he leaned against the back wall, it suddenly gave way, opening into a bizarre, claustrophobic room surrounded by crooked, numbered doors. Before Sam could even process his surroundings, a booming, chilling voice echoed from the speakers above. "Choose the right door, you are free. Choose wrong, you get Honzo." The stakes of this twisted labyrinth were instantly set. This was now a terrifying game of survival. Sam, trying his best to keep his cool, approached door number 3. The suspense hung incredibly thick in the air as he slowly turned the handle and pushed it open. But his heart sank. It was just a brick wall. A total dead end. Nothing was there, and the claustrophobia was really starting to set in. Sweating now, Sam thought for a moment and threw open door number 7, and a huge wave of relief washed over him. It was the exit. Freedom was literally right there. But remember, the bet. If he left right then, he'd lose. He needed that red nose to humiliate John. So, against all common sense and driven purely by his own ego, he turned away from the exit. Building with a massive, rising sense of dread, Sam reached for door number 5. He threw it open, and standing right in front of him, in the pitch darkness, was a horrifying life-size dummy of a clown. It was Honzo. Quickly reminding himself it was just a prop, Sam reached out, snatched the red nose right off its face, and let out an arrogant laugh as he walked out the exit completely convinced he had won.
Part 5. The Terrifying Night. The Curse Follows Him Home.
Sam marched straight to John's house that evening, parading the red nose around and just mercilessly mocking his friend. John, totally infuriated, threw the nose away and stormed inside. Feeling like an absolute champion, Sam began his walk back to his own home. And this brilliantly illustrates how the narrative suddenly shifts from a creepy fairground to a deeply personal domestic nightmare. On his walk, he just couldn't shake this heavy, inescapable feeling of eyes burning into the back of his neck. Suddenly, the suffocating stench of a burning cigar filled the air, the exact same smell from the tent. When he got home and locked the doors, his phone rang. It was John, but when he answered it, heavy distortion filled the line, replaced seconds later by that exact maniacal clown laughter from the fairground.
Sam dropped his phone in shock. He tried calling back, but again, only that sinister laughter answered. The air in his house was now incredibly thick with foul cigar smoke, totally clouding his vision. He stumbled into his kitchen, and right there, painted on his wall in dripping, blood-red letters, was a single word. Honzo. Blinded by pure terror, Sam sprinted to his bedroom, slammed the door shut, and dove straight under his blanket. The room was dead silent. He held his breath. And then, a violent, deafening pounding erupted on his bedroom door. It sounded like something was literally trying to shatter the wood into splinters. That horrific laughter echoed through the halls. The door buckled, ready to break entirely, and then, as suddenly as it started, it completely stopped. Dead silence returned.
Part 6. The Lasting Scar. A Permanent Reminder.
The night did eventually end, but the horrors were far from over. The very next morning, John, who was super worried about that strange phone call, came over and discovered Sam lying totally unconscious on his bedroom floor. Sam was immediately rushed to the hospital. Now, he physically survived the ordeal, sure, but he definitely did not escape unmarked. Right on his nose, in the exact spot where he had stolen the prop from the dummy, was a deep, bloody cut that would heal into an undeniable, permanent physical scar. But honestly, much worse was the eternal terror permanently etched into his mind. The curse of Honzo the Joker had definitely left its mark, standing as a dark psychological reminder of the heavy weight that arrogance and reckless choices can leave behind.
Knowing that sometimes arrogance can awaken things better left asleep, will you ever confidently walk into a haunted attraction again? And more importantly, if you hear a knock tonight, are you entirely sure who is waiting behind your door? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into fear. Take care